There's a new leader in the clubhouse on these picks. I have overtaken Joe. I am 24-20. Joe is 23-21. Yeah. Don't forget that this segment, is brought to you by our good friends over at Home Field Apparel. Use that promo code Ruffino Joe to get 15% off. That's RUFFINO Joe for your 15% off. So, Joe, on the left, we've talked about most of these games. We talked about Oregon and Washington. I'm going with Oregon. You're going with Washington. I don't know. Do you want to rehash anything else on that one?
No, I mean, I'm already bought in on that, as I've explained on this show before. I have to pick Washington because me keeping the stupid beard is contingent on that, so I'm sticking with Washington.
Okay, I'm staying with Oregon. Again, talking to teams that can run the football, Washington is one of them. We just talked about Notre Dame. We just talked about Tennessee and A&M. Joe and I both are going with Notre Dame and Tennessee. Oregon State and UCLA. I am going with the Beavers yet again. You are going with the Bruins.
This was a toss-up for me, and I think that what's gone under-talked about, UCLA's defensive line is really good, and I think if you can create some problems for DJU, they can get the bag there for UCLA.
I think Oregon State's just too physical. I think
they are. Their offensive line's really freaking good.
Way too physical. And here's another thing. I got to see a little bit more from Dante Moore, okay?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they're winning games when he's played bad, which is really,
correct. Weird. But you can't do that against Oregon State. You cannot turn the ball over against them. I think he has a couple of turnovers and gives Oregon State the win. I was really iffy on that one too. Miami UNC. We just got done talking about that. Joe's going North Carolina. I'm going Miami. Can I just say this for the record? And I was trying to leave it for the picks. I don't like that pick. I do not. No, I don't like it. But
I love how you waited until it wasn't going to be in the clipped segment that's going to be posted, because the Miami fans are going to be all like, Blake's the smartest man ever. He's got great football knowledge. Joe's a big dumb bozo. And then now you're backing off on it. Go ahead. What are you going to say?
I don't like the pick for this reason. I don't like that UNC has Drake May. So if I lose that, I'm like, yeah, I understand it. All right.
That pisses me off because that was literally my whole argument.
Oklahoma State and Kansas.
I hate you so much.
I told you that I had a surprise with Miami and UNC. There it is.
You anger me so much. Let's go through the rest.
Oklahoma State and Kansas. Joe, I don't like. So Oklahoma State last week, massive win. Gundy is really good in the month of October. Like, wins crap load of games. By the way, he's like 90% at winning games in October, and Kansas doesn't have Jalen Daniels. Give me the Cowboys.
I'm a little iffy for that reason. The Gundy's a good coach. I just think, though, that even without Jalen Daniels, this Kansas team's good enough to beat up on the mid-tier Big 12 teams this year. And let's just be honest, OK State's they've shown some signs of life, but that South Alabama loss, I think, kind of clarifies that's a middle of the pack type team this year.
True, but we've seen teams, Michigan, LSU, that have been beaten by Group of Five or FCS opponents that have went up and gone and played in New Year's Six Bowls. Sometimes, as people will say, it happens. All right, Missouri and Kentucky. We are going on the right side of this bracket, right side of this board. We don't agree on anything.
No.
Missouri and Kentucky. I just don't think that Kentucky can score enough to keep up with the absolute Megatrons that Missouri has on the outside. They don't have anybody on their team. There's nobody in the state of Kentucky outside of the city of Louisville that can stop Luther Burden. Kentucky's offense or defensive pass yards allowed is almost dead last in the SEC. Shout out to Vandy. The only reason that Kentucky's pass defense isn't the worst in the SEC is because Vandy's in it.
That's not going to bode well for them. I just think it's a bounce back game. You got embarrassed against Georgia. You're pissed off. Ray Davis gets the ground game rolling a little bit. This one's also a little bit more on the riskier side. I feel like these are, I don't know what the lines are on them off the top of my head because I didn't bet on these this week.
Is a 2.5-point favorite, which basically
it's a pick 'em.
It's a pick 'em.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Most of these last ones are pick 'ems, and I think it could kind of go either way. I don't think it's a lopsided one way or the other.
I agree. God, please, sweet baby Jesus, because I picked Notre Dame, you give me these victories. Duke and NC State. Riley Leonard is out. I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters one bit, one iota, because Mike Elko is my spirit animal. Give me the Blue Devils.
I'm all in on Duke. I like Duke. I feel this. I don't know why. I talked about gut feeling earlier. This is my one pick that I've got that gut feeling that they could show up and lay an egg and North Carolina State pulls it out.